Welcome into the PFF College Football Show. Max Chadwick alongside Dalton Wasserman here, finally doing the 2026 NFL mock draft that we promised to you guys. Dalton is kind of our post-November, I guess, mock draft, even though it's almost Christmas right now. So we're a few weeks late to it, but kind of like a good holiday mock draft right now.
Well, post-regular season, it's a good time to get one in just before the playoff starts actually tonight. We're going to see a lot of NFL players throughout this 12-team playoff, but certainly a lot of really fun scenarios to be thought of here even before the playoff, and some final confirmations on draft declarations as well. We've got some guys dropping out of the running here, going back to school. We've got a lot of guys declaring, going to all-star games and things like that. So I think definitely to get a clearer picture of this first round before this playoff and how that'll change it is going to be a fun time.
Our guy picking spreads in the chat, Donnie, saying he's currently on a 4-hour drive to Minneapolis. Does not stop him, though, from listening to a mock draft. Appreciate that.
Oh, wow.
Keep your eyes on the road, hopefully. Hope you're listening to us and not watching us.
Yeah, true that. I mean, we'll just have to do a good job, as we always do, of being both concise and detailed, right? Just for you, Donnie. We got you.
Devon Williams Jr. for Heisman in the chat saying, drive fast, take chances.
Oh, wow.
We can't.
Easy now.
We don't endorse that.
Easy now. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be snowing up there in Minnesota today or anything like that. But easy now.
Oh, Arb saying I'm wearing Virginia Tech colors to show solidarity with James Franklin.
Oh, wow.
That's my guy. Jimmy Franks is my guy still.
There you go.
I still love him.
Bo Perbula in the portal. Who's getting him?
Hopefully, I'm not gonna say anything. I won't say anything.
Maybe reunite with Franklin. Maybe.
I wouldn't hate that.
Bo Perbula and James Franklin, the redemption tour.
I wouldn't
Virginia
hate that.
Tech, that'd be fun.
I wouldn't hate that. We'll see what happens with Penn State, though. We'll see what they do in the portal. But appreciate everyone in the chat right now. It's holiday season right now, so get your loved ones the best gift there is, which is a PFF Plus subscription, which is 30% off right now when you use the promo code HOLIDAY30. And with the holidays coming up very, very soon, this deal will not last very long. So take advantage of it right now. Again, 30% off with the promo code HOLIDAY30. The same data, grades, analytics that every single NFL team uses. Over 240 college football programs use our data as well. You, of course, get access to the same mock draft simulator we're going to use today here live on this show. Our fantasy football tools, our betting tools, everything is available with a PFF Plus subscription. Again, 30% off for a limited time right now with the promo code HOLIDAY30. All right, Dalton, let's start off this mock draft. Number 1 overall, the New York Giants picking here. Do you want odds or evens first off?
Are we doing it that way? We can do it that way. You know what? You take odds because I feel like this is the hard pick, and I feel like making your life difficult today.
Okay. If you're cool with it, I know we haven't done trades in a lot of these mock drafts. I feel like we have to do a trade here. Okay. I don't think there's a player that the Giants should take here at number 1 overall.
All right. What do you want to do? You want to secure it with the Raiders and go with the
Raiders?
Obvious, go with the easy one? Because the 3 teams I'm looking at are Raiders, Jets, Cardinals.
I kind of think the Jets are going to do it. They have so much ammo.
You think they're going to go for it? We can try to set up a trade here between the Jets and the Giants. Right,
I did my own mock draft on PFF.com if you want to check it out. And I had the Jets moving up to number 1 overall. I had it going number 5 for number 1, and I believe it was also a first rounder next year, one of the 3 they have next year. And then I think it was like 2 second rounders, I think.
Okay.
That might be a little too much, but also, I mean, it doesn't really matter. The competition doesn't really matter.
The interesting part about that is, would the Giants want number 8, what's currently the number 18 pick, the Colts first round pick this year, or one of those ones next year? And there's been that debate about the 2026 versus 2027 classes, but you went with 1 next year, correct? So you said 1 next year and 2 seconds?
2 seconds. So I feel like the Jets, if they trade, that way they get 2 first rounders this year, 2 first rounders next year, and then one of the second rounders this year, and one of the second rounders next year.
Okay.
All right. Only second rounder.
So move the Giants down to 5 for a first next year and 2 seconds.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. You're the GM.
The competition doesn't really matter here, but I think it's the Jets are going to try to move up for the Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza. I believe he will be the first quarterback taken in this draft. Is he my personal QB1 as of right now? Actually, no. I think Dante Moore is a little bit higher for me right now. But I think what's going to happen on draft night, Mendoza will go number 1. And for a Jets team, Dalton, that has Tanner Engstrand, has so many former Lions coaches on that staff, I see a lot of comparisons to Jared Goff. I'm sure they also would see a little Goff when they watch his tape. I think the Jets are going to be very enamored with getting Fernando Mendoza in this mock.
Maybe a battle between those two guys that could happen in the playoff for the right to be selected first, right? If we see Indiana and Oregon in the semifinals in a rematch that Mendoza won the first time and Moore struggled, maybe that's what decides it head-to-head, as has been a theme in college football this season. But let's do it. We'll go with Mendoza.
Real quick, do you think there's a single player that if the Giants stick at one, they should take? Or it's worth taking? Probably not, right?
No, because
they have too many edge rushers already.
I think Trevor having Caleb Downs number one on the board there, he's probably the best football player, but you are unlikely to see a safety go first overall.
It's never happened before, actually.
It's never happened. So I'm with you. I think if the Giants are the team picking first, and interesting enough, the Giants and Raiders in Week 17, I believe it is, they're playing each other. So the loser of that game, in all likelihood, precisely, the loser of that game could just end up with the number one pick.
How about Colin Coward's idea of trading Jackson Dart and taking Mendoza? What do you think about that?
They're not going to do that.
I don't think they will either.
No, they like what they have in Jackson Dart. They're not doing that. I get what you're getting at, but you reset the clock, and maybe you get, maybe if it's a new coaching staff that would want Mendoza or somebody, of his style more so than darts and running around and all that. But I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're committed to Dart.
I got bad news for DeMond Williams Jr. for Heisman in the chat saying, give me Darian Mensah in the second. Unfortunately, Darian Mensah is going back to Duke officially. So he's going to be in the 2027 NFL draft now.
Correct. As a lot of these quarterbacks are.
A thin quarterback. Also, Dante Moore and Ty Simpson could both go back next year. It could be Mendoza and nobody else in this quarterback class. It could be Cade Klubnik QB2 for all we know.
True. And you know what? A few months ago when we said that would have made a lot of sense. But all of a sudden, you're right, it's thinned out a lot like it did last year as well.
But Dalton will operate under the principle that Dante Moore will be in this class because we think he'll be a top 5 pick. Is he the number 2 overall pick here to the Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders need a quarterback. The Raiders really need a whole lot of everything. I mean, if they wanted to rebuild the rest of their team, they could trade down, maybe to an Arizona or somebody else here if they got a haul from a team like Pittsburgh or something like that. But I think the Raiders take a new quarterback, whether Mendoza's on the board or whether it's Dante Moore in a scenario like this, sitting number 2 overall, sitting potentially number 1 overall. I think they're taking a quarterback. I'm going Dante Moore, 2 quarterbacks, 2 picks here.
Donnie's saying I'm on the Brendan Sorsby train. Also, another guy that I think is going back to school for another year. Actually, transferring to another school.
Yeah, I think he was looking into maybe an NFL option, but I think he's going to transfer somewhere and try to pick a team maybe to make the college football playoff.
According to Dane Brugler, who of course is very plugged into the industry, he thinks that Sorsby has multiple $4 to $5 million deals on the table right now.
Hey, I mean,
I would take that over going to the draft.
Really good season, dual threat guy. I get it. I get it for sure. It's going to be the trend. We're going to get into that in the next couple weeks here. But the impact, the number of impact quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Boy, we're going to see some real shifting in power structure here when it comes to that.
If you want a prediction right now, I would almost lock it in that I think Brendan Sorsby will be a Texas Tech Red Raider next year. Follow the girlfriend. His girlfriend's committed to Texas Tech for volleyball right now, too. And there's a lot of Texas Tech players kind of commenting on his Instagram right now. Man. So I think that's the one I feel most sure about of the entire portal class right now.
Look what Whit Weeks and Lane Kiffin started down there, and now we're just doing it everywhere.
Yep. Jeez. All right, let's move on to number 3 overall. Tennessee Titans. I'll go with what I think is going to happen and not what I would do here. I'll go with Arvell Reese here. I still love Ruben Bain Jr. I know the arm length concerns are plenty right now for him off of Dane Brugler's tweet recently. I know he's got very, very short arms. I still love Ruben Bain Jr. But as of right now, I think Arvell Reese is the favorite to be the first non-quarterback taken in this draft. And for a Titans team that needs help at edge rusher, and I think Arvell Reese could play edge full-time for them, could help out at linebacker a little bit too. I think Arvell Reese will ultimately go over Ruben Bain Jr. on draft.
Are we making because the Titans, to me, their 2 biggest needs on defense are cornerback and edge defender. Are we making a full tilt switch to the edge for a Reese here and getting the pass rusher out of them that they need? Because inside they look good. I really like the emergence of Cedric Gray at linebacker. You could pair Reese with Gray at linebacker, but they need an edge defender. They need a legit pass rusher off the edge more than anything. So if you're doing that, then I think the Reese pick makes some sense. They're taking a gamble on the ceiling there.
Yep. Arvell Reese, number 3 overall. Browns here at number 4. Dalton, who are you going with?
All right, it's got to be one of 2 things, either a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. I've got to come out with both of those things in this first round with 2 first-round picks. Later on, they have Jacksonville's first-round pick from the Travis Hunter trade last year. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go wide receiver here. I'm going to look at Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Look, no matter who the quarterback is for this team, and they got shut out on the top 2 quarterbacks here, so it could be Shedeur Sanders. It could be a veteran that comes in. It could be Deshaun Watson from the way things sound at quarterback. quarterback. I don't think it matters until they fix this receiving core and they fix this offensive line. I'm going to start on the outside here with Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Really good route runner, really good possession receiver, contested situations, just can do a little bit of everything. I've told you before, he reminds me a bit of Chris Godwin. If they got a player of that caliber, I'd be okay with that.
I love it. Yeah, the only question I have for Tyson really is injuries. That's it. I mean, everything else he's excellent at. I think if he stays healthy, he's going to be a bona fide number one receiver in the NFL. All right, next up here is the New York Giants after trading down with the Jets, staying in MetLife Stadium with that trade right there. Here at number 5 for the Giants, I'm actually going to go with another wide receiver. I'm going to take Cardinal Tate here to inject some size, some much-needed size, honestly, into that receiving core for New York right now. I think Cardinal Tate alongside Malik Neighbors with Jackson Dart at quarterback, this would be a really, really fun fit here. And we saw Jackson Dart Dalton be so good with a guy like Trey Harris in that Ole Miss scheme with some really good size and really good contested catchability. Cardinal Tate, I think, is very close to being my number one receiver, might actually end up as my number one receiver in this draft, but I think he'll be somewhere in the top 10 here. I think the Giants will be all really interested in either him or, like the Browns, an offensive tackle here at number 5.
Solid all-around player and a guy who can get vertical for a vertical passer in Jackson Dart, and you start to look at what that core would look like. Malik Neighbors, when healthy, Carnell Tate, Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson's played well at tight end for him this year. I think he really starts to put together the pieces of this passing game. I have some concerns about this offensive line as well. Wouldn't blame you for going there. Maybe a right tackle like Spencer Fano or Francis Mauanoa, but certainly Tate would fit in there as another vertical weapon in that offense.
All right, so you have Donnie's Cardinals here at number 6. What do you want to do here?
This is tough because there is not a quarterback on the board, and I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. Look, they're pretty stacked up with veterans on the defensive line. Offensive line is a major concern, though, and I would really start to look at that right tackle position. That for them, that right tackle spot's been one of the worst in football this year. So I'm looking at one of either Spencer Fano or Francis Mauanoa. We will see what this offense looks like heading into next year. I think there's a lot of kind of mystery shrouding even this coaching staff right now. I'm actually going to go, if they're sticking with this coaching staff for now and sticking even with Drew Petzing as the OC, I'm going to go with Francis Mauanoa from Miami. Okay. I'm going to go with the big, powerful right tackle. I think he slots in well there. He's done an outstanding job for multiple years there in Coral Gables for the Hurricanes, and he's going to be in the spotlight certainly in the playoff game this week against Cassius Howell and that Texas A&M defensive line. So give me Mauanoa, plug-and-play right tackle. I think he fits right in, and you've got the bookends going with Paris Johnson and him.
Yeah, Donnie said he kind of wants Ruben Bain there too.
I could see that as well, especially when you talk about he might walk in there as an impact run defender, especially right away. So looking at the Miami trenches on both sides, one way or the other, I think they've got some good pass rushers there, but their run defense really, I don't think it's been as good as we thought it could be. If Arvell Reese was on the board here too for this team, I would actually consider taking him and leaving him at linebacker, or you could use him in kind of a hybrid role because to me on defense, actually linebacker is their weak spot. But they just don't have a spot here where they can take, if I'm taking Sonny Styles 6 overall, if I'm thinking I might just trade down if I was going to try to do that. So I'll fix up the offensive line first.
All right, I'm actually going to go with Ruben Bain Jr. here at number 7 overall to the Saints.
This a lot.
I get it. Listen, I know Ruben Bain Jr.'s arm length isn't great, and maybe he has to kick inside at the next level, but also for a Saints team that needs help at edge rusher and D tackle, I think he's a perfect fit, even if he has to play D tackle for the Saints. And listen, there gets to a point where, yes, measurements do really, really matter for the NFL draft, but there gets to the point, I think, where we, just look at measurements only and kind of throw out the tape altogether. It feels like for a lot of people saying, oh, he's a day 2 pick now. Watch tape, guys. This guy's an elite football player, and I get it. His arms are an inch shorter than what you want them to be right now. Ruben Bain Jr. is still one of the best players in college football and still deserving of being a top 5 to 10 pick, I think, in this draft. And what is a weaker draft, honestly, too. I think Ruben Bain Jr. still would be a guy that the Saints would be really interested in, even if his arms come in a lot shorter than what we usually see from edge rushers.
We heard plenty of this on the offensive side last year with Will Campbell, and he still ended up going 4th overall to New England and had a great rookie year, obviously, before he got hurt. Hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. But I'm with you. It's a veteran group of edge defenders when you look at Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, and Chase Young. Add some young talent in there to that defensive line. And you mentioned it, when Brandon Staley gets into these 5-man fronts that he can get in, move Ruben Bain inside, and he's an awesome run defender. He's super strong. I think it is a really good fit in that defense.
Love it. All right, number 8 overall, the Washington Commanders. Who are you going with here?
I think there's some interesting options here. I could even think about a Jeremiah Love, but this isn't a team that really values running backs in the draft that highly. They like their late-round guys, I think, and they try to find value. I could see the case for a pass rusher, but it's hard for me for this team to pass up the best player on the board here, and that's Caleb Downs. I just think they need somebody who can change the identity of their defense. Caleb Downs, to me, is one of the few players who can do that. He makes everybody around him better. He's an immediate captain. He's got a super high football IQ, and is playing under this year an NFL caliber defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia. So I'm going to go with Caleb Downs. This is somebody that Washington can build their secondary around. They got a young group of cornerbacks that they're hoping can get better sometime in the near future. But Downs is a glue guy. I think he can glue this secondary back together, a secondary that's been one of the worst in football this year.
All right, Caleb Downs going there at number 8 to the Washington Commanders. Eli's Bengals are up next, honestly, and we're going to make this pick for him. He said Peter Woods or Sonny Styles, whoever we think is better for their defense. I kind of think Peter Woods.
They need both. Linebacker has been such a problem for them. I can see the case for either one, honestly. I really could. I think you could take either and not be wrong because they so badly need to fix the middle of that defense, the run defense. And the linebackers in coverage, that's really been a huge problem too. So I could definitely see the case for either. The one question, I think, as far as the two, and talk about positional depth of this draft, would you rather take the elite linebacker in Styles early and find run-stopping defensive tackles later, because you can always find that in the mid-rounds? Or do you go high-end upside with Peter Woods and go, okay, we'll fill in at linebacker and we'll have faith in the guys that we have? It's been tough at that position.
Eli wants me to point out the Bengals are bottom 6 in every PFF defensive metric right now. Not great.
Yeah, they need a little bit of everything. That's for sure. I mean, you could even talk about an edge rusher, assuming Trey Hendrickson is going to be gone. And I don't know, they drafted Shamar Stewart, but he really hasn't done much this year, and he's more of a run defender on the other side. You could think about a David Bailey or somebody like that here as well.
I'll go with Peter Woods because for the simple fact of I think both he and Styles would be great for this defense, but I think Woods is more likely to be a top 10 to 15 pick in the draft, where I think Styles is more likely a top 20 pick in this draft. So I still love Peter Woods. I think he's a great run defender. He's a really good pass rusher too. He was not the issue with Clemson, honestly, this year. And I think both he and TJ Parker are still deserving of being first-round picks, even with a disappointing year for Clemson. So I think Peter Woods makes a lot of sense here at number 9 for the Bengals.
No, I think it makes a ton of sense, honestly. When you look at that Bengals defense, just find any way you can. Find any way you can to get better, because that's really been the problem for the last couple of years. We got the Rams here at number 10, of course, a good football team with the Atlanta Falcons. First-round pick that they acquired in last year's draft. I think you certainly have some options here.
Ty Simpson, maybe?
Ty Simpson, maybe. I don't know that he's going this high, and I don't know that the Rams have to force it. I could even think about it with their second pick. We're not even sure if Ty Simpson's going to come out, to be honest with you. So
maybe a corner?
You've got an interesting – that's the next place I was thinking about. And they've been putting it together with some veteran guys who've been playing well. They've been playing well, but even over the last 3 or 4 games, hasn't been great. You just saw the loss to Seattle, gave up a lot of yards and points in the fourth quarter and overtime of that game. I'm going to take the gamble on the talent here. I'm going to go with the top corner on the board, Jermod McCoy. And I know he didn't play at all this year. He had a great year at Tennessee last season, one of the best corners in the country. And when you really look at his ability in that defense and what he did to lock down that side last year, his side of the field for Tennessee, I'm going to take the gamble on the talent here. The Rams, their secondary's been getting better this season, but to add a young, talented player like this, I think would help them a lot. Let's go Jermod McCoy.
Jermod McCoy, love it. All right, number 11 overall for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Tempting, isn't it?
I'm really tempted. I think I might do it here. I'm also thinking about like a David Bailey or something like that along the edge for Kansas City. But, man, you got Jeremiah Love staring you in the face right now. I think I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. I know a lot of people are going to hate that and say, how do you let this happen to Kansas City? But I think this is a guy that they're really interested in. I don't think Isaiah Pacheco's in the long-term plans for Kansas City right now. Of course, Kareem Hunt's getting up there in age too. You add Jeremiah Love to an offense with Patrick Mahomes, and that's some pretty explosive stuff waiting to happen right there. So I'm going to take Jeremiah Love to the Kansas City Chiefs there at number 11.
An offense severely lacking in explosive runs gets the most explosive runner by far in this draft. And I will tell you, had you not taken him at 11, I would have taken him at 12 here to Minnesota.
I want to say, Andrew Harbaugh saying something to keep in mind with the Vikings coming up. McCarthy has been targeting and had a lot of success with tight ends in recent weeks, so maybe Kenyon Sadiq to the Vikings. What do you think about that?
The problem is I think they're comfortable with TJ Hawkinson and with Josh Oliver. Josh Oliver, who I think they just recently signed to an extension. They're really comfortable comfortable with those two guys there. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a good fit, because it would be a terrific fit. I just don't know that they have room for a third guy like that in that room. I think he's somebody, it's just a position that they don't necessarily need quite as much here. I think I'm looking more on the defensive side of the ball, and who knows if Brian Flores will be there or if he's going to get a head coaching job elsewhere, but I think a really good fit for this team. I'm going to go cornerback for the second straight pick here for me. Mansour Delane out of LSU. With as much as Brian Flores blitzes and he wants to get into man coverage, he really doesn't have a true shutdown man coverage corner on the outside. Mansour Delane has been that this year for the LSU Tigers. That secondary has been the best part of their team, and you just look at it, 90.9 coverage grade. Look at the man coverage grade here, 89.1 man coverage grade this year in the SEC, mind you, transferring over from Virginia Tech. So Delane's been awesome, and I think Brian Flores would love to have a corner like this. That's where I'm going, and I know you're real mad with the next pick that you have here that I'm going there. So that's what happens. You steal Jeremiah Love. Now I get to steal one of yours here that you want.
Deal. I'll go with next up for the Dolphins here. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to last there very long. I'll go with a guy that kind of fits the mold of what, Mike McDaniel's been doing in Miami with all the smaller receivers he's been getting in there. But I think Mekhi Lemon, man, it would be a really fun fit in this offense too. So yeah, I get it. They're drafting a lot of small receivers in there in Miami, but I think Mekhi Lemon is just an unreal player, honestly. And he's the best receiver in college football this year. He's deserving of being a top 20 pick in the draft. Don't let the size fool you. He has been unreal in almost every single area that we have metric-wise at PFF. So I'll go with Mekhi Lemon here at 13 to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, you have several options. I think Lemon is a really, really good pick. I think Sonny Styles would make some sense if you're looking for somebody to play alongside Jordan Brooks. Anybody in the secondary, well, that's why you're mad that I took Delane there, because I think that certainly would be a good pick as well. And the other question now that we've gotten Tua benched for, I assume, these last 3 games of the season is this a team in the quarterback conversation? Would they trade up for a Mendoza or more, try to get up from this, this range right here? Would they, take a Ty Simpson if he comes out? There is a major quarterback question now in Miami, and there's kind of this wide-ranging assumption that Tua is going to be gone despite $99 million in dead money to your cap there. So I'm with you, though. I think Lemon is a really good pick. Maybe they stopgap it for a year at quarterback and figure it out from there.
All right, you're the Dallas Cowboys here, number 14 overall.
All right, this one, because the two primetime corners are gone and Caleb Downs is gone. I actually think this one is pretty easy. I'm going to go with Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State. It's got to be the Cowboys' approach in this draft to me just needs to be best player available for their back 7. Defensive line, I like where we're going. Donovan Ezeraku, Quinnen Williams is going to be around, right? We've got some guys who've stepped up. I like where the defensive line has been for the last 5 or 6 weeks. The back 7, the coverage grade, I believe it's the second. I think it's the second worst coverage grade as a team in front of the Las Vegas Raiders. The linebacker position's been a problem all year. They're trying to stopgap it with guys like Kenneth Murray and Logan Wilson. They need an alpha, next to DeMarvion Overshown in the future here. I think if you walk into next season with Sonny Styles and DeMarvion Overshown, you could be all right. That's a really athletic pair to have there at linebackers. So with the 2 big corners off the board, that's where I'm going, Sonny Styles.
All right. I have the Baltimore Ravens here up next. So I'm gonna go with David Bailey. They have the 3rd worst pass rush grade in the NFL. I was kind of thinking between him and Keldrick Falk, the top 2 players you can see on the board right there. I'm gonna go with David Bailey though. I think he's a better all-around player right now than Keldrick Falk. He's been the best pass rusher in college football this year. He's been an elite pass rusher for 2 years in a row now, whether at Texas Tech or at Stanford. He leads the nation in pass rush grade, leads the nation in pass rush win rate, leads the nation in pressures this year too. I'll go with him. He's been a really good run defender for Texas Tech this year too, a lot better than was at Stanford. And like I said, the Ravens D-line is a lot of juice right now. I think David Bailey would provide that.
You're right. It's been a problem with Nnamdi Madubuike and his season-ending injury. They traded away Odafe Owe to get Alohi Gilman, which certainly helped their secondary. But up front, it's been a struggle. And you try to build this unit in the future around Mike Green and David Bailey, 2 young players. I think that makes sense. They really have struggled to get pressure on quarterbacks all season. I think that is a good pick.
Love it. All right, Odin1923 in the chat saying Carolina's top 3 needs to him are edge rusher, free safety, and a linebacker that can cover tight ends. What are you going to do here for the Panthers at 16?
This is a spot where had I left Sonny Styles on the board and not brought him to Dallas, I would absolutely absolutely take Sonny Styles.
That would fit the linebacker that can cover tight ends right there.
That would be Sonny Styles would be everything the Carolina Panthers need. I think safety, they've looked okay at safety. Trayvon Merrick's been solid. Lathan Ransom, has been up and down, but also shown he's a really good run defender in there. This is interesting to me now because you go those positions there. What was the third one? It was linebacker,
edge.
Safety, and edge defense. I mean, edge is a good call. If you wanted to just continue to hammer home the run defense, you could go Keldrick Falk. If you're a Giro Avero trying to fix the run defense, if you want extra pass rush juice, maybe Cassius Howell. But I do kind of like what they have in Nick Skorton and Princely Umanmiele, and you can always you never have enough pass rushers, right? There's also a guy that intrigues me here with the offense, and that's Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end. I don't think they have really any sort of consistent playmaker at tight end. I like the blocking for sure. I like Mitchell Evans. I like Tommy Tremble, right? I like what those guys bring in the run game, but I need a dynamic element to this tight end room. So I think if I don't have Styles, and I certainly won't, I shouldn't have Downs by 16. I would say Caleb Downs would be a slam dunk pick here at 16 if he was here. I think I'm going to lean on the offensive side and help Bryce Young. I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end here.
Love it. That'd be a really interesting pick. I haven't seen a lot of tight end for the Panthers there, but I think just continue to build around that offense and continue to build around Bryce Young. It's never a bad call either. I'm going to sprint this card in here at number 17 overall for the Lions. I'm taking Spencer Fano. I'm not thinking twice about it. I think this is a guy who should be a top 10 pick in the draft for a Lions team that can use some help at tackle. With most likely Taylor Decker retiring after this year. I think Penei Sewell, I understand he plays right tackle just like Spencer Fano. I think Penei Sewell, who was an elite left tackle in college at Oregon, I think he is very capable of making the Tristan Wirfs transition from right tackle to left tackle and still be one of the best offensive linemen in the league. I think Spencer Fano, who, like I said, should be probably a top 10 pick in this draft, he falls here to 17. I would sprint this card in if I was the Detroit Lions.
I also wonder, even if Decker does stick around, okay, and you have the two tackles where they are, if they were to decide, because early, I remember before the season, Tate Ratledge was getting reps at center, and then they decided to go with him at guard and still Graham Glasgow at center. I wonder if, because you've talked about Fano is perfectly capable of moving inside if you wanted him to and getting in this outside zone scheme that they're running here in Detroit, that Dan Campbell's running here in Detroit. I think it makes a lot of sense one way or the other. If Decker does go, I think that scenario you put on the table is correct. If not, you move him inside, you move Tate Ratledge to center, and you can move on like that. But Fano really is, as a mauler in the run game especially, he's a guy that Dan Campbell's going to love.
Oh, you can imagine Spencer Fano and Penei Sewell. Jahmyr Gibbs will love life, man. That'd be incredible.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he already is. I mean, you got those guys opening up holes for him. It's just crazy what you're looking at there on that offensive line, as always, in Detroit.
All right, number 18 overall, the New York Jets. Dalton, we took Mendoza at number 1 for the Jets. Who are you taking here at number 18 for your Jets?
This is a lot more open. I mean, because they've got so many needs on defense. I think one of these edge defenders could make sense. I think a defensive attack. I mean, really anything on defense would make some sense here. Or we stack up the offense further and we go with somebody like a Denzel Boston. So you've got the size on the outside with him and Adonai Mitchell. You move Garrett Wilson into the slot, really make him that movable piece in this offense. I think Denzel Boston is an option, but it's hard not to feel like I need to at least get something on the defense to help this team out too, because there's just not a whole lot of keepers. Brandon Stevens will be there next year. There's some young guys. I like Malachi Moore at safety, but they've been struggling up front to stop the run. I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk here for this team. I think obviously the measurables are there. The run defense grade is there, as you see. Pass rush, we're figuring it out, but you still have Jermaine Johnson for another year. You have Will McDonald, who I think if you get Falk and McDonald early on in this rotation where Falk plays early downs and then you bring in McDonald, then you can develop Falk as a pass rusher behind the scenes. Let's go there and start fixing this defensive line, because they've really struggled this year at that in that unit.
Damn, that was my pick for next for the Buccaneers.
Ooh, and the two big linebackers are off the board.
Yeah, Harb saying that you guys are doing the Bucs no favors because edge rusher maybe Ioane.
I think the one thing you could do, because to me it's so clearly the weakest spot on your team, is if you wanted to reach down there for C.J. Allen.
That's a little high. I'm going to go with a guy who I think still should be around a top 20 pick. I'm going to go with T.J. Parker, the edge rusher from Clemson. I think he is Still had a really good year this year. Again, he and Peter Woods were not the problem with Clemson this year. Still had an 83.3 PFF grade. You can see on the screen right there. I think TJ Parker's a really good player. He's been an outstanding run defender his entire career. He's been shown to be a really capable pass rusher, too, in his career, too. I would still take this guy somewhere around the top 20, and I think the Buccaneers could use some help at edge rusher. He should be a guy that they're interested in.
I think those are going to be the two big problems that the Bucs need to solve in this draft early is, one, athleticism at linebacker. They just don't have any. They don't have any left. Levante David, I'm not sure he's got another year in him. Savassier Dennis has struggled, and they've had no depth all season there. And you mentioned it, the edge rushers. They struggle so badly without blitzing to get home. Todd Bowles has to blitz to get a pass rush. You don't want that to be the case all the time. So it makes sense. TJ Parker from Clemson to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Do you do it?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I think they're going to sign another veteran. If it's a Kyler Murray, if it's a Jacoby Brissett, if it's Jameis Winston, I don't know. I don't think, especially with this class, they didn't force it last year. Maybe they should have, considering what the Giants have gotten out of Jackson Dart so far. Maybe they should have, but I don't think so. I think they're just going to continue to build the rest of this team. To me, I think there's several options. I wonder how much faith they have left in Broderick Jones.
I was just going to say Caden Proctor is still there.
At left tackle.
Yeah.
They need another receiver in the worst way. There's no question about that. If I took Denzel Boston, I don't think there'd be a whole lot of complaints. And defensively, help in the secondary would be a thing. Avion Terrell might be a good fit here, but I think this is going to be an offensive pick. And it's the question, do I go tackle or do I go wide receiver? What do we think?
I'd probably lean tackle. If you're not going to take Ty Simpson here, I would probably lean tackle with Caden Proctor because Broderick Jones has just not shown enough, I don't think, in his career so far. And I really do like Caden Proctor, and I think he's worth a top 20 pick, but that's up to you, honestly. I don't think you can go wrong with either him or
It's just Boston. A question of, I don't think we've heard much of how willing yet they are to replace him and if they're just going to give him the fourth year and just see where it goes here. And they do have an obvious need at wide receivers. Let's do it though. Let's go offensive line. Let's get a new left tackle here in Caden Proctor, and then build the trenches. Maybe if we were to do a 2 or 3 rounder, we would get the Steelers a wide receiver at some point there.
To answer your Walt's question in the chat, saying didn't we trade the number 18 pick to get Mendoza? No, we actually traded the number 5 pick, a second rounder this year, and then one of their 3 first rounders next year, plus their second rounder next year too. So 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks for the Jets to move up 4 spots to get Mendoza.
We want those 2027 picks. That's what people are looking for right now.
Well, we gave up one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have 2 more though.
Oh no, trust me. I get it. Listen.
That way you get 2 this year, 2 next year.
Listen, you find a way for the Jets to get Jeremiah Smith. I'll feel pretty good about it. Trust me.
If they can't get Mendoza, you get Jeremiah Smith, and you get Julian Sayin, another player there too.
I don't complain. No complaints here for once.
The New York Buckeyes. That's actually not a bad strategy, honestly.
They might Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
See that? We just got.
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
Just resigned.
Draft Cardinal Tate this year. Honestly,
just gave Jeremy Ruckert an extension.
Yeah. Draft Cardinal Tate this year. Draft Jeremiah next year, and draft Julian Sayin. There you go.
Nailed it. See that?
Super Bowl coming. All right, so you're taking Caden Proctor?
Caden Proctor.
All right, love it. Number 21 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles up here. Ooh, there's a lot of ways I can go here, actually.
Is there a wide receiver question?
Yeah, that's
I think guard might be an underrated need for this team.
Yeah, Ioane.
Could go with Ioane.
Keep him in the state, yeah. Low moving cost.
Corner.
That's exactly what I'm looking to. I'm looking at Ioane. I'm looking at Terrell.
Do we move DeJean outside and put Terrell in the slot? I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Cooper's fully capable of playing outside, by the way. He did his whole career.
You know what? Let's do Avion Terrell. I'm going to do Avion Terrell. Right. Move Quignon, keep Quignon outside. Leave DeJean in the slot. Put Terrell on the outside. I think that'd be a really good trio for the Eagles to have long term in that secondary. So I'll go Avion Terrell.
I think you've made 11 picks and 3 of them are Clemson Tigers. How about it?
I can't get rid of my my national champion pick.
It's your preseason natty pick. Yeah, there it is. Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Avion Terrell. You're just hanging on to it. You're
clinging on to it.
Absolutely clinging.
I'll never give up on it. My friends, actually, Dalton, we're going to the city Christmas weekend. Some of my friends from college and they're like, "Oh, do you want to go to the Penn State Clemson game in the Pinstripe Bowl?" I was like, Not really, no. even as like a diehard Penn State fan and as like a guy who picked Clemson to win it all, I'm like, that'd be too sad.
That is a pretty rare football game where it's just like both sides make you so sad.
It's just a sad football game.
And honestly, the saddest part about all of it, you gotta sit in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to do that? Why would you want to do that?
My friends asked me, and I actually haven't responded. I probably should respond to them, but I was like, that'd be so sad to watch that.
I don't care what two teams are playing. I'm not trying to sit in Yankee Stadium.
You know, like people give Notre Dame a lot of shit for opting out of the bowl game.
Yeah.
I think if Clemson and Penn State were both like, nah, we're not gonna do that, I'd be like, you know what? I get it.
Nah.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's a sad bowl
walking
game.
into that stadium. That's
a depressing bowl game right there.
No,
yeah.
That's the setting, everything about it.
Yeah.
Wow. Just tough scene there.
It is tough. It is tough. Houston Texans up here at number 22.
I actually think you made this pick pretty easy for me. I am going to take Olavide Ione, starting plug-and-play guard for the Houston Texans. Let's keep building this offensive line. I really like actually where we're at with. I didn't even bother with tackle there with Ariante Ursary and the way he's played lately for them. He's been really good. I think he's going to be solid for a while. Give me Ione, starting guard. Houston still a below average offensive line in total. There's some weeks it's good, some weeks it's not so good. Keep building that unit. They're going to go as far as the offensive line takes them.
Love it. All right, next up, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go with a pick that I actually think Jerry Jones would also make. That's Cassius Howell here, as we took, of course, Sonny Styles to the Cowboys number 14 overall. I think they stay in the front seven and take Cassius Howell here, and we know Jerry Jones loves his guys that are in the state of Texas. So I think Cassius Howell would fit that defensive line. He alongside Donovan Ezaraku would be a really fun pairing. Howell's been outstanding as a pass rusher this year for A&M. I think it's going to be somewhere around the late first round range, so I think this would make a lot of sense here for the Cowboys.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I was just scrolling down here looking at maybe some of your options in the secondary. Colton Hood from Tennessee. Brandon Cisse from South Carolina has gotten a lot of hype lately. Your guy, A.J. Harris from Penn State, could be an option as well. The secondary will get addressed at some point in this draft, but a linebacker and the best pass rusher in the SEC this year, I don't blame you at all for that pick for sure.
All right. Buffalo Bills, 24.
Buffalo Bills. We need defense. Max, we need run defense. I think there's two guys we could get this from, and there's different approaches at going about it. Number one, I just can't help but feel like my gut tells me to take C.J. Allen, the linebacker, here for the Buffalo Bills. He's just such an outstanding run defender, so instinctual. Matt Milano getting a little older. They have Terrell Bernard. They're paying him a pretty good buck there, but I think to put C.J. Allen next to him would make a lot of sense. And another guy I think about here is actually Romello Height, the edge player from Texas Tech. Greg Rousseau off the edge is a really good run defender. They don't really have a second guy who can do that. Joey Bosa is a situational pass rusher. A.J. Epinesa, I actually believe he's going to be a free agent this offseason. I have to check that. But Romello Height, he would give you the pass rusher. See a 63.5 run defense grade. He's got ideal size. I think I'm going to say it's C.J. Allen. My gut told me to go there. I think on either side, the defensive line or at linebacker, they need help in run defense. I'm going to get a new leader on this defense here.
I think Allen's more likely to be a first-round pick than Height is, at least right now. We'll see what happens over the All-Star circuit and all that, but I think C.J. Allen's a good pick there for number 24.
Caden McDonald could be a fun one, too, out of Ohio State.
I'm looking at him.
He's a brick wall on the inside.
I'm looking exactly at him right now for the Chicago Bears, and I think I actually might end up going with him here to the Chicago Bears here. I'm looking at him and Caleb Banks. Banks has been really, really banged up this year, though. I know McDonald's not much as a pass rusher, but he is an incredible run defender. In fact, I would argue the best run defending D tackle that we had in college football this year. You see right there, the 92.2 run defense grade from Caden McDonald. I think he would be my pick here for the Chicago Bears.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, they need more I shouldn't even say playmakers because they get to the ball. I believe they lead the league in takeaways, but they need more playmakers in that front seven in the sense of stopping the run. And even a pass rusher would make a lot of sense. If you went with Romello Height there, I think it would make a lot of sense. I think, an R. Mason Thomas, a pure pass rusher, makes some sense. But I get it with McDonald because if you have this team and this identity that Ben Johnson's building, run the football, stop the run. I mean, those are the two things I think he's going to want to do. McDonald makes a lot of sense. And think back to, earlier this year, the Detroit Lions, kind of the same framework. They took Tyleik Williams, a similar player. If Johnson's got a similar draft vision here, I think McDonald makes sense.
Love it. Answer Walt's question in the chat saying, who's the second best guard in the draft after Ioane? This actually kind of applies to Dalton for your next pick, the Chargers. I would probably argue Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard from Oregon, who has been so good at Oregon this year and kind of really become become a superstar transferring in from USC. Is he also your second best guard in the draft after Ioane, or who else do you like?
I would agree with that. It's a pretty thin group, and he's really been outstanding. He's been Oregon's highest graded offensive lineman. I think you're going to see his name called out a lot in this college football playoff. He's going to go against some really good fronts the further that Oregon advances. James Madison this week, then possibly Texas Tech, then possibly an Indiana or an Oklahoma or an Alabama. So I think Pregnon probably is the second guy. I don't think I'm going to take him at 26 here. I think it's probably more of a second-round conversation with him, which makes for a fun conversation with this Chargers team as far as what obviously they need interior offensive line help. The tackle situation's going to fix itself with better health from Alton and Slater. I think I'm going to go on the defensive side here. They need more of a pass rush. It's been inconsistent. I'm going to go with Romello Height from Texas Tech here. I mean, you look at the 92.4 pass rush grade. We're going to talk about this defensive line a lot throughout this playoff, him and David Bailey and then Lee Hunter and those inside guys as well. But I think they need a little bit more. Jesse Minter, assuming he doesn't leave, he does not want to blitz a whole lot. They need to get home a little more often with a four-man rush. Give me Romello Height.
All right.
I think now as we've hit the point, Max, where we have to mess with this draft order a little bit.
Okay, good call.
So we haven't gotten on the back end of this with the Rams-Seahawks game. We haven't gotten the full order figured out here. So we have to swap San Fran and Cleveland here real quick. We're just going to force that trade. Let's see. Cleveland, send a 7th-rounder next year. That seems fair, right?
To move up one spot, yeah.
To move up one spot. There we go. Yeah, so we're going to go. The Browns are you have the Browns here next, and then the last four we'll have to fix up a little bit here as well.
Okay, the Browns, and we took for them Jordan Tyson already. I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu, the tackle from Utah. I think he is a really good player for the Utes. I think he's a really good pass blocker. And I think that, like you said before, Dalton, the Browns need to attack wide receiver and offensive tackle. I know they probably need a quarterback too, depending on whether or not you think Shedeur Sanders can be the long-term answer there in Cleveland. But no matter who's the quarterback next year for the Browns, they need a better supporting cast because right now the Browns, I believe, have the worst receiving grade in the NFL and the worst pass blocking grade in the NFL. And I think getting Jordan Tyson and Caleb Lomu would go a long way to fixing both those problems.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. You come out, if you're the Cleveland Browns in this draft with an offensive tackle and a wide receiver, and then honestly you keep building those two units throughout I would almost make an entire draft out of, if we look at the Cleveland Browns real quick, let me try to find them here at another. I look at this, a 36, 68, I would take this entire draft and just those two units. That's all I'm looking at. We're good enough on defense. The top-end quarterback conversation may still be a thing, but I kind of doubt it right now. Those are the two units I would just attack. I would take legitimately 3 receivers and maybe 4 offensive linemen at least out of this draft. I think you just have to find a way to fix those 2 units before you can get anywhere. San Francisco, the 49ers.
That would have been an interesting pick for the 49ers too, Lomu.
Maybe, but Trent Williams is still so good that I don't think he's going anywhere. He's still like one of the 5 highest graded tackles in the league.
It's up to him. I think it's more about whether or not he wants to retire, though.
Certainly, but the way he's playing, I'm like,
he's 37.
I get it, but the way he's playing,
I think it is a sneaky need.
I'm just going to assume he's playing another year.
All right,
he's still one of the best tackles in football. To me, there's 2 things I look at here with this pick for San Francisco. Although I think,
you got Denzel Boston staring at you in the face too.
3 guys. I was actually going to go another route, a different one. And I know the Brandon Ayuk situation looks like it's either combustible or just done for, right? 3 guys I look at here. 1, whether he's the right tackle or maybe an inside guy. Jennings Dunker is a perfect fit for this system. Wouldn't hate it. 2, pass rush. This team has, I believe they have the fewest sacks in football.
Damn.
Obviously, Nick Bosa, the season-ending injury, but they just have no pass rush right now, and Robert Saleh's not going to blitz. I think his type of guy, if I'm going back in flashing back to the Will McDonald pick for the New York Jets, his type of guy is our Mason Thomas. Wide 9, speed, edge rusher. You've got Mykel Williams, the run defender, who kind of plays in that defense, this John Franklin Myers tweener role. You've got other run defenders on the inside, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, guys. Our Mason Thomas, Jennings Dunker, or I actually think, considering if I'm thinking about Kyle Shanahan and what's missing to me in this passing game is yards after catch. For this team, if I'm going receiver, I would go Casey Concepcion over Denzel Boston.
That's fine. I would go with Concepcion over Dunker and Armason Thomas. I think both Dunker and Armason Thomas are more likely second-round picks right now, but I think Concepcion is probably going to be somewhere in the first round.
And as we know, you also get an absolute blazer of a punt returner
True.
as well. I think Concepcion, if he's going to go in the first round, I think this is the most likely team that would take him. Ayuk is gone. I like Pearsall. I like Jawan Jennings. I like them as more of classic, traditional route-running wide receivers. They're missing Deebo Samuel. And KC Concepcion at this point in the draft is the closest thing they will get to that.
Yep.
If that kind of makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to sprint this card in then for the New England Patriots. This is Denzel Boston.
Hold, please.
I think that is...
I got to switch.
Oh, no.
I got to switch the order on you. You're getting the Rams here at 29.
Well, at least you'll probably get Boston there at 30.
Most likely. Yeah, I was thinking, although Seattle is a candidate, but yes.
They are.
I have to switch.
Patriots are picking 30, actually.
I have to switch the Rams. Right. So I got to move the Rams up to 29. We'll fix that in a second, but I got to move the Rams up to 29. The back end Rams and Seahawks. The game went so long, it went past midnight, we couldn't update their draft order.
Okay.
So 31 to 29. Here, you get us 20-27 second. There we go. So you get the Rams, and I'll fix the Seattle one next. I have New England next after. So if I have New England next, yeah, I'll probably take
Rams are at 29. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Ty Simpson here. I'm going to do it. If he is in the draft, I still think someone will probably like his tape enough from the first half of the year to take him. Maybe he has a great playoff. We'll see. For the Rams especially, I know Matthew Stafford is still playing at an MVP level right now and most likely going to win MVP this year. But they need to figure out the succession plan, I think, after Matthew Stafford because they have a roster that is built to win now and in the future, too. I think Ty Simpson is probably a guy that they would look at and have him sit for a year or two behind Matthew Stafford and then take over a lot like what the Packers did with Jordan Love. That might be the smartest call for the Rams to make right now. So I'm going to take Ty Simpson. You already make a pick earlier on Dalton for the Rams. Current window, Super Bowl window with Jermon McCoy. I'm going to go for the long-term window here with Ty Simpson.
Here's a question for you. As we're on the live show now, this is happening before this Alabama-Oklahoma playoff game. Just to reiterate, how much of Ty Simpson's draft stock is dependent on tonight's game, this game against Oklahoma?
It could be a lot. It could be a lot.
Because, man, he better have an answer for Brent Venables and all that pressure. He's had a couple weeks to prepare. I'm so curious where people's opinions on Simpson are before tonight's game. Right now, you taking him in the first round of this Rams team, and then after. And if he succeeds, right? If he succeeds and he plays a great game against that team, do we jolt him up into that conversation where the Rams maybe would have taken him at number 10? Or another team, the Cardinals, or maybe the Browns think about it, or what have you. I mean, is there anyone in this draft possibly with more of their stock riding on one game than Ty Simpson tonight?
I can't think of anyone right now. Ty Simpson is still...
What a fun one it's
He's still number 9 on the consensus board right now. So people are still very high on him. But I think he's probably most likely going to be somewhere in like the 20 range. So I'm going to take Ty Simpson here to the Rams. I think getting Jermon McCoy and Ty Simpson, again, building for now and building for the future, is a really smart play for the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, we're going to force here. I've got New England at 30. The last 3 will be New England, and then Seattle, and then Denver. This is interesting. I think, actually, Boston makes a lot of sense, although I don't hate what they have at wide receiver. I think they just use Kyle Williams more. I think you could solve a lot of problems by using Kyle. You saw it with Travion Henderson, the speed that he added. Add that more often with Kyle Williams. I think Boston makes a lot of sense. Add another receiver on the outside and get some of those speedier guys working elsewhere in the formation. The other one, too, this New England team, to me, this is another one. They're missing a dynamic edge rusher. The interior, when they're healthy with Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, really good. Love what they have with Robert Spillane at linebacker. I like this secondary. It's gotten better as the year's gone on. The 2 positions, to me, that got to get fixed. You add more at wide receiver, or you take an edge rusher. This could be an R. Mason Thomas spot. This could be a Josh Joseph spot.
I think both those guys are like mid-second round picks. I don't think this is that hard of a pick right now for the Patriots.
Find an edge rusher in round 2.
I would think at least, because I think the edge rusher class kind of drops off a little bit right now.
That's just the other spot that I look at as I watching them, especially against the Bills when they were ahead last week with that big lead and Josh Allen came back. They just don't have a dynamic presence off the edge.
Yeah.
So it's something that I think is possibly going to get addressed depending on how the board falls, and I still think R. Mason Thomas could be an option here. But I get it, too. build around Drake May, get the receiving core going.
And they don't have much. I mean, they have some size in that receiver room, right?
I mean,
but not like a true X.
The one bigger guy is Mac Hollins,
Yeah.
and that's not usually. You feel like you get an upgrade at some point with Denzel Boston over Mac Hollins. So I'm with you. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. I just think it is. Edge rusher is going to be something that they think about depending on where they're at and where this is.
And if you look at the analysis tab, I don't know if you picked Boston yet, but if you look at the analysis tab for not for him, for the Patriots.
Oh, okay. Where am I looking here? There we go.
There you go. You can see like edge rusher, they're picking 43% of the time. Patriots fans are picking edge rusher.
Ooh,
so
look at Caden Proctor mixed in there.
That's true.
Maybe
Interesting.
a guard plan, maybe not a guard plan, but maybe a future plan there at right tackle. Morgan Moses kind of on borrowed
Will Campbell
time
and
there.
Caden Proctor. I don't hate that.
But you mentioned an edge rusher, 43% of the time, wide receiver. The fans are feeling an edge rusher. They see
they're with you.
Hey, the fans know ball.
They do.
Sometimes when you're struggling to rush the passer, that's a frustrating team to watch. I get it. But we'll go with Boston here, and then maybe next time, depending on the order, we'll mess around.
I like that.
A little bit.
I like that. All right. Next up here,
Seahawks coming off a big win.
That was an unreal game.
What a win.
Unreal game last night. I'm probably going to go with a corner. Listen, Devin Witherspoon's been unreal for them this year. He's been one of the best corners in football this year. I think Tariq Woolen, his days are numbered, I think, in Seattle. So I'm going to go with a corner here for the Seahawks. I'm going to go with Colton Hood, the corner out of Tennessee. I think he'll be the second corner out of Tennessee to go in the first round of this draft. Brandon Cisse is also a really good option here, I think, for them. Honestly, it's between those two. But I'll go with Colton Hood there to the Seahawks, and I think getting him with Devin Witherspoon would be a really fun fit.
The one other guy I think is an idea for the sake of continuing to fix this offensive line. Because you've said before that you believe Jennings Dunker, there's a chance he moves inside to guard. If this team took Jennings Dunker as the right guard with the way that Clint Kubiak wants to run the football, he would be a perfect fit. I could see the idea there. I also get the idea with the building more depth at corner, obviously, right? I think Witherspoon has been playing a lot more on the outside with Nicky Manwari in that big nickel kind of role, but they need somebody opposite Witherspoon. So you're going with Hood here, right, from Tennessee?
Yeah, and also, I'm right that saying that Tariq Woolen's most likely going to be gone, right?
It sounds like it. He's been playing less. It just sounds like things have just not been great as far as negotiating an extension. It sure sounds like they need somebody to replace him and somebody who can play in man-to-man coverage the way Mike McDonald wants to.
All right, let's wrap up this mock with the Denver Broncos here, Dalton. Who are you taking for them?
This is an interesting one because this is a team that doesn't have a ton of flaws, right? I mean, I could use more help at running back alongside RJ Harvey. Sorry,
I just don't think it's a running back even close to worth it here.
No, that's one where I'm waiting a whole another round. They just drafted Jahdae Barron last year. I don't really need another.
Is there like a linebacker or pass catcher you like here? Or? I think those are probably the two spots I look at.
This is the part where
Anthony Hill, maybe.
This is the part where this being such a heavy defensive draft is tough.
Anthony Hill, with pass catchers available.
You could go with you could build some young depth at linebacker.
I don't think Chris Bell's going in the first round anymore after the torn ACL.
Yeah, that's the thing. Chris Bell would have been a good fit for them. I need to do the deep dive on Ian Strong. I really need to.
Yeah, people like him.
I watched him a bit this year, but I need to do the deep dive on him and see.
I think Anthony Hill makes some sense for them.
Hill makes some sense. I don't know how much he'll play early, and I'd have to look at the contract situation, especially for Alex Singleton. Justin Stranad's been good this year too, so it's not like a. This is the thing with Denver is they don't have a ton of desperate needs.
They're the best team in football.
Wide receiver. Troy Franklin's been emerging. Pat Bryant's been okay. Tight end is actually, to me, the biggest need, and it's just not another guy.
But like running back, it drops off a cliff after the top.
Right. It's that I'm looking at pick number 64 eventually at tight end rather than that. I think this is a hard one.
Yeah.
Cisse, R. Mason Todd, they don't really need pass rush. I think
some of the fans take Kristen Miller too. I don't know if they would do that, but
what are the fans doing? Linebacker, tight end, receiver. See, Kenyon Sadiq, but I don't think he's going to fall to 32 here.
Yeah.
CJ Allen, Concepcion.
They're all gone. Kristen Miller's the only one available.
Chris Bell would make a lot of sense.
You can still take him here.
I could.
I mean, torn ACLs aren't as bad as they used to be.
Yeah, I just think with Surratt, with like an Elijah Surratt, it's a lot of what they already have.
I don't know if you would go that high. I know Crimson in the chat likes that too. I don't know if he would go that high in the draft.
This is a hard one. Do I have any
Drake Holiday saying they could use a left guard, maybe Pregnon.
Do I have any reason to think that Mike McGlinchey's not going to be back after this year? Is anybody in the chat on that?
I don't think so. I think he should be back.
This is the hardest pick of all of them. Wow. They just don't have a ton of needs.
I'd probably go with Anthony Hill Jr. But
Caleb Tiernan.
I think Anthony Hill Jr. or Chris Bell, that to me would be the first two guys to look at for them.
I'm gonna go Chris Bell.
All right.
Now, the injury wrench is thrown in there.
Yeah.
But I think if we're trying to get vertical, like I said, I think the two biggest needs on this team really are running back and tight end, and there's just none in this range. So let's take Chris Bell from Louisville. There's going to be injury talk about this, and he might not go in the first round because of it, but guys recover from torn ACLs all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting a size and speed combination there that, I mean, you look at what they're trying to build vertically down the field, right, with Bo Nix throwing downfield, a little more of the Auburn-style Bo Nix that we're getting this year as a gunslinger throwing it down. But you've got Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant is more of a possession guy. Now you've got Chris Bell in here. Let's go with it. We'll take another weapon. I think the idea is to just keep adding weapons for this team. Chris Bell from Louisville, and certainly throughout the spring there will be injury concerns with him with the knee injury being so recent. So fun draft here. I think you have what I feel like when we do this now, we're getting into this where there's certain positions in this draft that we like a lot better than certain other ones. So I think teams are going to really have to pick their spots and find the right fits here.
Yep, that wraps up the first round holiday mock draft that we're doing for you guys. You can see on the screen right there what the best players, all the players that we took there in the first round of that mock draft. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. Want to tell you guys right now that the Sunday show, our review show for the first round of the playoff, which of course kicks off tonight, our Sunday show will be an hour later, actually, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I know we did a 10 a.m. show, Dalton, after the conference title games because we wanted to get to the playoff reaction and all that. We have no reason other than we want to sleep in an extra hour.
Yeah, why not?
Sunday, because there's only 4 games for us to review on Sunday. So it should be a quick show, probably like an hour-long show or whatever. So we'll see you guys on Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, not 9 a.m. Eastern time. So you guys can also sleep in another hour there on your Sundays too. But again, 10 a.m. Eastern time, live here on this channel will be our full review and grade release show for the first round of the college football playoff for Dalton Wasserman. I'm Max Chadwick. We got Eli back there behind the glass too. Again, we'll see you guys at 10 a.m. on Sunday for our full first round review show.